It's great to be back at Red Hat.
Great to be with you.
I want to talk today about Agile Integration and what it is and how it differs from things that we've done in the past. So maybe give us the high-level strategic view as a starting point.
Sure. If you look at Agile Integration, we like to break it into three pillars, if you will,
Okay.
that are both sort of technical capabilities or organizational capabilities and technical capabilities. And we break them down roughly as what we call distributed integration, containers, and APIs, taking those in turn. And distributed integration is really the response to that centralized enterprise service bus model, where one monolithic piece of software was with the team orbiting around it was where all the integration happened, and saying no to that model and yes to integration being done in services by discrete teams. So a decentralized approach to your integration logic itself and the way the teams build that. APIs being, as you build these services, you're building for integration, you're building for communication, you're building knowing these things are going to talk to each other as part of a larger system. So an API first mindset is really important to facilitating that and designing for communication. And with APIs as a design model, you have to have the governance structures around APIs to understand how communication happens, to secure it, to put policy around that. So as a system comes together, you still have an appropriate level of governance around that without sort of the baggage of the old sort of SOA governance heavyweight processes. And the last piece is containers. And containers are the technology that allows us to package, deploy, and scale the integration logic that's been developed as part of our microservices, and the APIs have been exposed as a unit that can be taken through the DevOps process from development through to production and iteration beyond that.
Okay.
As you evolve you evolve the capabilities of your service.
Can you tell me what some of your customers are doing with Agile Integration?
Sure. Two come to mind that I think are useful. They've come at it from different angles. The first I'll talk about is a large international airport. And they had a vision to become the best airport for passengers to transit through. And as a result of that vision, they decided to create a set of services, both exposed from airport functionality like gate transit times, baggage information, develop a set of services that could then be pulled together into mobile applications to deliver the passenger traversing the airport a good experience in terms of the information they provided.
Okay.
They then extended that to allow other airport partners to expose services so that that could be added to the mobile experience. So in addition to gate transit times, is information from other vendors, for example, in the airport. As they built these services, they started out with Fuse as the underlying technology to build the service that sort of tied into the back end and became the actual service endpoints. The next step they took was to adopt API management, three-scale API management, to govern all of those APIs, and essentially to put them together in a developer portal so that people building mobile applications could see the available APIs, learn about them, see the documentation, and facilitate the development of the applications that consume those APIs. The last step was then to, as they rolled this out, was to adopt a container infrastructure for the actual provisioning of these services and the APIs so they could scale out as the applications went live.
Okay.
So it was really taking it from a service view, API, then container for rollout. The second customer example is a Midwestern health services firm, and they took a different approach. They started looking at this technology set really through an IT operations lens. So they were looking to modernize the way they deliver applications and employ more DevOps practices.
Okay.
And as such, they started with containers. They started with OpenShift and had a successful POC on OpenShift as the container platform. And as they looked at how the application would interoperate, how the pieces would interoperate to form their applications, they realized the need to build these services with integration in mind, and in fact adopted Fuse as the service implementation logic so they could tie into their backend systems and create these services.
Great.
The API vision on top of that provided them the means to sort of understand and govern and control those different services through API management. So as teams build services, they could expose the APIs, other teams could learn about them, connect to those APIs, et cetera. So it really formed a whole vision for the way they're going to build applications going forward. So as it started with OpenShift, so it moved up the stack, they saw the value in the whole Agile integration vision, and as a result, procured the full set of technologies in one go.
Great. So now they start with integration in mind, knowing that you're going to have to do it anyway,
Yes.
which is probably a good way to go.
Indeed.
Great. Well, thanks.
You're very welcome.
Good
Thank
to see
you.
you again.